Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.
Recycling batteries is so key. And I'm not just talking about lithium-ion batteries, AA's, AAA's, C batteries. All of the batteries need to be recycled. So I did a PSA with fire department in collaboration with our city partners and municipal works and the landfill division. They are consistently seeing fires in their garbage trucks because once that compact, because in the back of the garbage truck, it's compacting the traffic so it can fit more garbage in there, right? And if it compacts and the two sides of the battery mesh, that can start a fire. So we have seen multitude of fires in the back of garbage trucks, which becomes dangerous for the workers, becomes dangerous for the landfill, and is dangerous for the environment. So we don't want to see any major fires, and they consistently see fires. So it's important that all batteries get recycled.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Medicine Hat Monumental, crafting quality memorials of distinction since 1970. Well, if you Google the word lithium battery fires, you'll get a long list of news stories where people have had problems with lithium batteries catching fire. In the last week, I think in Calgary, they had 4 in one day. One is too many.
Wow.
So we're here today to try to prevent any of this from happening in Medicine Hat with Kelli Ireland, Fire and Life Safety Educator with the Medicine Hat Fire Emergency Service. Welcome again for your encore performance.
Thank you so much, Brian, for having and inviting me back to the show.
Yeah. Lithium batteries. Now, we talked about these when you were here last fall, but they continue to be a problem.
They continue to be a problem.
Why?
Lithium-ion batteries, first of all, pretty much anything that is rechargeable. That's how you know you have something with a lithium-ion battery. So that's anything from phones, tablets, cell phones, e-scooters, all sorts of devices are powered by these lithium-ion batteries, right? They're fast, they're convenient, they're cheap, and they charge our devices. So we need to be careful with these, though, because they're just unpredictable. The battery itself can very easily overheat. And what happens is because it's self-contained in this nice little battery pack, those cells can self-heat. They transfer the heat to the next little cell in that box, and it basically creates heat faster than it can dissipate the heat. And therefore, essentially, it's almost like a mini bomb.
And boom.
And boom.
Yeah. And they're in a plastic housing,
yes,
which in itself is very flammable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they can give off toxic gases, which is another key thing that we're dealing with and we see a lot. And that can be very deadly. It can be deadly to the person and it can really damage the environment as well.
So if someone has lithium batteries and they want to charge them, what should they not do?
So there's a few things to note.
There's a long list.
There's a long list, unfortunately, but I'll give you some of the key ones. And particularly when it comes to, Calgary's not the only one experiencing these lithium-ion battery fires. We too here in Medicine Hat are, and we're seeing an increase in those fires. A couple of weeks ago, we had 2 in 1 week. Not 4 in 1 day, but 2 in 1 week is pretty significant for a community our size. One involved a Bluetooth speaker.
Really?
Yes. And we've seen a lawnmower. We've seen a scooter. We've seen vape pens. We've seen a cell phone. We've seen all sorts of devices run away and become very dangerous. And so some of the things we really need to be cautious about in our own homes and ways we can prevent these fires from happening or overheating our battery is making sure we're charging with the right cord. This is the biggest thing we see. The cord that comes with the device is the cord that should be used to charge the device. Buying off the shelf in stores that maybe dare I say a gas station or a dollar store, right? They're cheap, they're convenient, they're 15 feet long. And so there's a lot of reasons why people buy them. Mm-hmm. I get it. But what happens is those chargers have not been certified, have not gone through the proper channels to be certified by the companies that stamp their approval on many of our electronic devices. And what we've seen is that there's over 300, for example, over 300 Apple chargers on the market.
300.
300. 3 of them have been certified.
How do we tell the difference?
And so quickly I'll go over. So what happens is if you're using the wrong charger, sure, it fits. Okay, look at this fits. I'll use it to charge my scooter. We saw this with a scooter, actually. They used a charger that they had at home. It fit, and it sent the wrong amount of voltage to that battery. So speaking a very different language than the battery that came with the scooter. And so what happened is it exploded and started a fire in the entrance of this home. Yeah, and so we should be looking for certified chargers. There's a little symbol that we can look for. The same way if we had any sort of dietary restriction on the foods we eat, now we should be looking for a certified device. Just the same way a hockey helmet is CSA approved. That same CSA approval is found on electronic devices. There's a few different versions of that CSA logo. ETL is another big one. ULC. That means it's gone through the proper channels to be tested, certified, and is safe for use in Canada. And that's very important because otherwise it can become a hazard very quickly.
So we have to make sure that when our first charger fails, we don't go for the bargain brand because we might save a few dollars, but the problems that could follow would be catastrophic.
Yeah, and that's truly the biggest cause that we are seeing is using the wrong charger with the wrong device.
Now, you mentioned that the e-bike caught fire near a door. Another problem, another error.
Another error, yes. And many of our, my daughter has a e-bike that we have, and she's, she always just wants to charge it inside because that's where most of the plugins are. She doesn't want to walk around the house, plug it on the outside of the house. It's convenient, right? And so oftentimes those chargers are either next to a doorway. It's not safe to charge a device, especially of that size, that battery size, near an exit out of your home because they explode. And the bigger the battery, the bigger the boom. There's lots of videos of this online that you can just search up, scooter exploding, lots of videos to give you sort of that visual of the damage and the how fast that fire can spread and how quickly it becomes dangerous. It's actually catastrophic. And so what we encourage people to do with their bikes and their lawnmowers and things that are a bigger battery, charge them outside. Charge them outside and not near a doorway if you can, if that's possible. It's going to prevent any sort of toxic smoke from getting in the home. Smoke is typically what kills people in home fires, especially off a battery. You're getting all sorts of different gases coming off of that battery. It can be very dangerous. And so if it's at least outside, it can ventilate properly. There's less chance of it spreading quickly if it's sort of off on its own. And it's just a much safer option for us.
How about the time you leave a device on a charger?
Yeah. So if you're using the charger that comes with the device, typically that charger will know and send a signal to the battery. I'm sure you've seen a little notification on your phone that says battery's fully charged. Stop charging. And that's another benefit of using that charging cord because it knows. It's essentially that battery's brother or sister. They know each other and they know when to stop charging. Whereas those off the market sort of cords don't. They'll just keep charging that battery consistently, right? And so it's important that if we are using an off the market charger, because we have, lots of people do, that once that battery is 100% charged, you're removing it. You're taking it off that charger so it doesn't keep charging the battery and potentially overheat the device.
You mentioned you also had a problem with a lawnmower. I have one of those battery-powered lawnmowers.
Yeah.
And I am guilty of leaving it on the charger because I thought, well, I know where to find it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it would be false of me to say I haven't done the same things. It's very easy to get busy, forget about the devices charging. It's just important that if you can, remember, set a timer. Maybe that's unrealistic, but if you can, set a timer. Check on it frequently. Don't leave it overnight is another big one. Unplug them before, we're all going to, at some point, overcharge our device. It's just going to happen. But if you can get in a habit of maybe checking at night, okay, everything's unplugged. That would be a good sort of start to make sure that, our devices are not overheating. They also lose their battery life essentially over time if we're constantly overcharging them or leaving them outside where it's hot or the temperature's changing, it's cold. That sort of wears down that battery over time and can damage it. And damage is what causes thermal runaway. Thermal runaway is when one of the cells within the battery gets damaged and self-heats. And then essentially transfers that heat, almost like the domino effect.
Yeah.
And then goes kaboom.
I saw a news story in Detroit where a fellow was charging his battery for his lawnmower, and he had all his other electronic tool, like his drill, and all these batteries were right next to it, and it set off a cascade. Those weren't even on the charger.
Right.
But once they got hot,
and
his whole garage went up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
So the surface we put them on is another important consideration.
Absolutely. So we had a fire. You might remember me last time talking about this specific fire. We had a lady sleep with her vape pen cell phone underneath her pillow, and it exploded throughout the night, and she woke up when her hair was on fire. It's so important that we are leaving our devices out on a hard, flat surface, such as this table, the bedside table beside us. That way they are not smothered and sort of overheating just simply because of our sheets and our body heat, right, and our pillows, because they can't dissipate that heat if they do overheat and find themselves in thermal runaway. If it's caught under a pillow or caught between the sheets. I am consistently reminding my teenage daughter to put her phone at the end of the night beside her on a flat surface so that it can release the heat.
Yeah. Oh, Mom, come on.
She hates having a fire in Life Safety Educator as a mom, I'm sure.
Well, if it saves her life, she'll be very thankful for that.
Yes. I hope we never find ourselves in that circumstance. I don't want anybody to find themselves in that circumstance. That's my job, is to educate people, empower people so that this knowledge becomes second nature and we can just take care of our families in another way and just be more aware of the dangers that the world sees.
Yeah. The things that we don't know.
Right? The more information we have, the better off we are.
All right, my lithium battery has run its course. It is out of power. Now what do I do with it?
Recycling batteries is so key. And I'm not just talking about lithium-ion batteries, AA's, AAA's, C batteries. All of the batteries need to be recycled. So I did a PSA with the fire department in collaboration with our city partners and Municipal Works and the landfill division. They are consistently seeing fires in their garbage trucks because once that compact, because in the back of the garbage truck, it's compacting the traffic so it can fit more garbage in there, right? And if it compacts and the two sides of the battery mesh, that can start a fire. So we have seen multitude of fires in the back of garbage trucks, which becomes dangerous for the workers, becomes dangerous for the landfill, and is dangerous for the environment. So we don't want to see any major fires, and they consistently see fires. So it's important that all batteries get recycled. And so again, realistically speaking, you don't have to recycle every time you get one dead battery. Keep a little bin. I like to say, keep one of those Costco, like, those big jars of M&Ms or those big peanut butter jars. Those are really good because they're plastic. Plastic is important, so never put your batteries in a metal container because the sparks can actually create. Same with glass. Glass can expand and explode. Plastic is a good option. So if you have a big peanut butter jar, put the batteries in that, put on the lid, because again, if we can take away that oxygen from getting to those batteries, we're less likely to spread the fire. put on that lid, and then once that bin gets full, there is a website called recycleyourbatteries.ca. You can type in the postal code of your home, and they'll give you the closest place where you can take and recycle your batteries.
Now, I recycle my batteries at the Northlands Co-op because they have a place there.
Yes.
But they want them in a separate bag.
Yeah.
That's how they do them. But I often wonder, okay, I throw in the bag, but if they still come in contact with each other,
It can still
and now it's in
certify.
that's a paper bag. Yeah. So what should I do to prevent that from happening?
So another tip that you can do if you want it to save yourself is to actually wrap the battery in an electrical tape, a non-conductive tape. And that, just wrap the ends quickly. Again, put it in your bin. That will stop the ends from touching.
Okay. And that's
and
for
potentially causing a fire.
And for all batteries, if they're nickel cadmium or whatever alkaline.
Yes, we had a fire, and I can't remember if I talked about this last time on the show, but we had a fire with a lady who was recycling her batteries, doing the right thing, but unfortunately she didn't have a lid on the container, and she just kind of tossed them all in, which is fine. But what happened was that battery storage was stored in the garage underneath some shelving.
Oh.
The shelving had some drapery on it. The C battery out of a remote control, it touched ends with another battery, it sparked, that spark reached that drape, and $320,000 of damage later to that home. So it's no joke, right? It can happen.
Yeah. All right, so we have a fire in our home. Reach for the extinguisher. Except, is it charged? I don't know how to use it. I have one in my kitchen. Let's pause for a moment so we can share some exciting news. We're proud to announce that our work here at Bring Back the Porch is getting noticed. From October to the end of January, our videos and reels viewed more than 1 million times. Some of those viewers could be your customers, so sponsoring Bring Back the Porch is a great way to get your message in front of them too. If you'd like to support our work here at Bring Back the Porch, we ask you to go to our website at bringbacktheporch.com and follow the links. Thank you for your support.
One of the things that's huge with these fire extinguishers, they're cheap. You can buy them at Home Depot, Rona, Walmart, really any sort of major retailer for $35. And all you need is an ABC charger. That kind of tells you the different types of fires it will put out. And those are the types of fires that will most likely happen in a home. So that is all you need. $35 and you have an extinguisher. That extinguisher likely gets put up on a shelf and hopefully never used. And 5 years later, you look at it and go, I wonder if this thing works.
Yeah.
Couple indicators. One, if it's in the green, so there's a little dial on there that indicates it's still working, that's great. And it still might be in the green. But one of the things and the tricks you can do to keep that extinguisher active and live for long, like I'm talking far past its life, is shake it.
Oh.
Within that device is a powder, like an extinguishing agent, that over time will kind of slowly sink to the bottom and settle. Even if it's in the green and you haven't touched it for 5 years, and if you haven't shook it, it's probably a giant brick or rock at the bottom of that extinguisher and won't work.
And that's not the time to find out.
Yeah, and you do not want to find out that it doesn't work if there's a fire, right? So, there's no number of times like checking your smoke alarm. We have to check our smoke alarms every month. There's no number of shaking times for that extinguisher, but if you think of it, shake it. Give it a really hard shake. You're not going to explode the device. It's going to actually keep that agent activated in there and, again, outlive its lifespan.
You just said check your smoke alarm monthly.
Yes.
I always thought you did it twice a year when we changed the time.
No.
But even that is changing now.
Even that has changed. The reason we continue to push the importance of working smoke alarms, here's an alarming fact. Back in the 70s, exactly, pun intended. No pun intended. We used to, back in the day, when we had legacy, is what we call legacy furniture. So the old floral couches that our grandmas and grandpas had, our parents had, if those caught fire, they were made of 100% cotton, real wood. Those would burn over a long period of time. And the smoke that would come off of those furniture items was white, clear, the same stuff you'd see in a campfire, right? Today, a lot of our materials are built with plastic glues that are keeping our tables, our nice tables together, right? They've got all these fancy designs in the table, but with that, likely a lot of those chips and those pieces of wood are kept together with glues and different types of materials, synthetic materials. All of that material has plastic. The base of plastic, essentially, is fuel. It's fuel. And it's fuel for the fire, which means we have far less time to get out of our homes because that product is burning that much quicker. So back in the day, we had 17 minutes essentially to escape our home once our smoke alarm went off. Today, we have less than 3.
3 minutes?
Less than 3 minutes.
That's not long.
No. And that smoke that's coming off of those plastic synthetic products is black.
And it's acrid.
And that's toxic. Only 2 breaths of that smoke and you will find yourself unconscious in most cases.
Yeah. So fire breaks out 3 minutes.
You have less than 3 minutes.
If I stop and grab my extinguisher, I'm maybe in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? If the fire is just too big, even if you don't want to even try to extinguish it, don't. That's why there's a fire department in town. We have the fastest response time in Canada, 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Often we beat that depending on where we are in the city, depending on where you live in the city. But we have a fast response time. Get out, get to a safe place in front of your home and call 911.
And if you're in a building, maybe alert your neighbors too.
Alert your neighbors as well if it's safe to do so. Yeah. Absolutely. Pull the fire alarm if you're in a major sort of multi-residential building. Absolutely. Yeah. Closing
the door when you go to bed at night.
Mm-hmm. This is a big one. And a lot of people don't know. I always get the, what? What do you mean? Like, I have kids. I have to hear them if they wake up in the middle of the night. I have an animal that kind of comes and goes in the room whenever they feel like it. I get it. I'm a mom. I also have a dog that does the same things. But closing the door can mean the difference between saving a life and not. If a fire breaks out in the home, like I said earlier, smoke is typically what kills people in home fires, right? And so that door acts as a barrier to getting to you. So if you find yourself trapped in a room, closing the door behind you, sleeping with the door closed, can absolutely save your life. There is a video online on YouTube called Close Before You Doze. If you don't believe me, Close Before You Doze. It's a whole thing. Our research institute, they light this apartment on fire, this building. They close the door on one side and they keep the door open on the other side. It's actually an alarming difference. The person with the door open would not have survived that fire. The person with the door closed would have.
That's something to keep in mind. And
it's
also,
something to keep in mind.
If you feel the door, if you think you try and get out that door, feel the door first.
Yes, absolutely. And if it's too hot, make sure that, first of all, you should be sleeping in a room that has 2 ways out. So if the window is your next option, all right. If you have to shelter in place, make sure that when you call 911, you're letting them know where you are. That way they can alert the fire department. And that's our first, essentially when we get on site, our first thing that we're checking for is life. Mm-hmm. Our first job and our priority is to save lives before it is to save that home.
Now, if I open that door, what happens?
If you open that door, you're going to get a gasp of smoke, potentially, depending on where that fire is. And again, which can be very deadly to our lungs and can be for ourselves. So if we can get low, smoke always rises too. So we always tell kids, get low and go. That's sort of the little trick we tell kids. Same thing goes for adults. If that smoke is filling up your home, if you can get beneath it, cover your face and get out safely, that's another thing to keep in mind.
So if you have a family, practice a fire exit drill.
Yeah, absolutely. I know kids practice these,
in school
regularly at school. It is not a bad idea to run through that once or twice a year with your family at home so that everybody knows where we're meeting, how to get out safely. If they have to take the window, how can they open their window? And again, practicing, kids especially, what is my address? I get it all the time. I don't know my address. I don't know my address. That's a very simple thing that you can practice at home regularly, just so that if they ever do find themselves in an emergency and parents aren't available, they have all the info to alert 911 they're in trouble.
Another topic, too, that particularly as we move into the fall and everything is drying up, are grass fires. And I love the trailer that the fire service has parked, I believe, on 9th Street right now, southeast. Don't be a flicking idiot.
Yeah. We do get some funny phone calls on that. Some people love it. Some people don't love it. And that's okay. It's literally meant to draw attention to it, right? That's the whole point. And unfortunately, careless smoking is one of those top causes of fires, not just here in Medicine Hat, but around all across Canada. We see it all the time. Highways. And we live in a community where we have a dry climate. It's hot. It doesn't rain other than this year. I swear, I think we've seen so much rain, more than we ever have. But typically in a Medicine Hat year, we don't see that much moisture. And so it is that much more. The BC fires are not unique to BC. That can very easily happen here.
Yeah, we had fire in Cypress County a couple of years ago that ran away and threatened a lot of rural residences.
Absolutely, and we co-responded on that call. Yeah. If it is to a point where it is getting out of hand, and that one was, we'll often respond as well. So yeah, it just shows you that we're not immune because we're here. So we have to sometimes. The top causes of fires, we have to use funny language that catches your attention to go stop and think about it for a second.
Yeah, but you see so many drivers, it's not even a thought. They just roll down the window and
flick. Yeah.
And when that hits all that accumulated growth because of the rain, poof.
Right? Yeah, we had a fire in a home last year, a huge one. That fire, the guy was sitting on his deck. That cigarette butt fell through the cracks of the deck, and minutes later, that whole home, which displaced 7 people, we unfortunately lost a pet in that fire, was caused because of careless smoking.
Okay. So. Candles was another one that you had a dramatic video when you were here of the lady who had the 3-wick candle, and she thought it would be a good idea to take it to the sink to extinguish.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very thankful that she felt safe enough to share that video with us because, she said, I hope you can use this as a learning opportunity. And we absolutely did. I think it was very successful online. People were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this. It's one of those things that you don't think about, right? I mean, I love going to Bath and Body Works or in the mall and buying my 3-wick candles. And I mean, it makes your house smell beautiful. I get it. 3-wick candles are really only meant to burn for about an hour. That's a huge aha moment for people because the more that candle burns down, the more wax and more fuel. All of the scents that are put into our candles are all fuel, right? Which can cause that candle to run away very quickly, right? And so what we saw in that video was that flame honestly got about 6 inches tall. That's not normal.
No, that's
not. That is absolutely not normal. And just like a grease fire, if you take that candle, which has got fuel and is burning out of control, and you try to put it out with water, you're going to have a blowback at you, right? Yeah. There's a reason why there's a lid that comes with that candle. That's the first option. If you need to put your candle out, is to put the lid back on. Second, if it is too big and it's out of control, use a pot lid, use a cookie sheet, something that's bigger than that candle. Again, smother it, take away its oxygen.
Yeah, and if you happen to catch fire, stop, drop, and roll. And I remember that ever since a little kid.
Absolutely, and cover your face. It's not part of the normal, regular thing, but it is something that we teach kids is to cover their face while they're rolling around as well.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to touch on before we conclude our visit?
I think another thing that I would like to touch on that the fire department does free home safety inspections. And so it's something I want to push. If you have any questions, you can always call us, email us. But if you'd like us to come check out your home, just to make sure that you're sort of up to par, following proper fire safety hazards around the home, check your smoke alarms, your carbon monoxide alarms. If you'd like us to do any of that, we'd be happy to come out. It's totally free. It's not something that we charge for. We want to make sure you feel safe in your home. And if you have kids that you want to practice a home safety escape plan, we'll work with you as well to make sure that everyone in the home feels safe in their home and getting out in case of an emergency. So give us a call, send us an email. We'd be happy to set something up.
Phone number?
403-529-8282.
Okay, and the email?
fireprevention@medicinehat.ca.
Kelli Ireland, thanks again for the visit.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.